And I have to say, when Lady first contacted me, I was like amazed. And then I talked to all of you folks. You certainly suffered, and but you're so generous to offer this. And then the message that will go out to this community that the industry supports them. Tourism is fishing and tourism are our number one industries here, no doubt. But just the message that tourism supports the people that live there is phenomenal. So just listening to you all and your heart and soul and passion, I cannot thank you enough.
There are two ways that we're trying to help. With Whittier in Alaska. Is the first one is obviously in this building here. There are 60 kids. You have 60 kids who live in Whittier. We're hoping that we can do something for the community that's been so hit before Christmas. That would be a wonderful thing. And the second one is you have a food bank. Please tell us about the food bank, because we want to obviously try to raise funds to donate for the food bank as well.
We have 60 kids pre-K through 12 in the school here behind our building. And we do have a food bank that supports quite a few families throughout the year in Whittier. You know, Whittier is a little bit different than the ports in Southeast Alaska, where everybody comes and it's a port of call, and all the shops and restaurants and businesses rely completely on the cruise ships. We're a little bit different in that we are a debarkation port. And so everybody comes in the morning and they get off, and then the new passengers come in the afternoon. And certainly we do see some of those passengers in normal times get off the ships, do charter fishing and our custom sightseeing. But really we see a lot of the crew. The crew get off, they have the evening off when they arrive, they have the afternoons off, they come off, they come sit in our little cafe and have a coffee and just get away from the ship, have a little mental break, answer some emails. One of their favorite places is to go to the Chinese restaurant and just have some downtime from the ship. So we really missed seeing the staff this year. Our community also are longshoremen that take care of the ship with the debarkation and the luggage, and all of those longshoremen work Whittier and Seward, and so they actually had absolutely no work this year between Whittier and Seward with no ships. So we know that all of our businesses experienced at least 50% down this year. The other big mark that the cruise ships have on our community is, of course, the goods and services they buy from our city. So water and fuel and the taxes that are paid on that. And then, of course, every port gets a transportation tax. And that money, it's a per head tax that goes to our community. That supports our public works, and it supports our public safety. We have to, of course, have more EMTs and more police because of the cruise ships are in town, and then that, of course, helps cover those expenses. So that is a very big impact on our community, on our city, to not have that money for those services. Whittier, we even say that we are unique even by Alaska standards. So we are a very small community of about 300 people. In the summer, it explodes to about 800 to 1,000, and those are all people that work in the industry, so that run their charter businesses or the restaurants or the shops, or support the cruise ships or the railroad. Just to tell you a quick little history of the town, because it is very unique. It actually started as a port for the war. So it started by the military, and they connected Whittier with the tunnel, a 2.5-mile tunnel, to get supplies to the interior of Alaska for the war effort. So the big building that Pete showed you was baggage towers, and that's where 90% of the population of Whittier lives. And that was officers' quarters during while the military was here. The military left here in 1960, and then until 2000, the only way to get to Whittier was by train. And you would load your car onto the flatbed of a train and come through 2 tunnels and then drive your car off the train. But in 2000, we they widened the tunnel and ventilated the tunnel, paved it, put some big propellers to push air, put some safe houses, and now you can drive to Whittier. We access Whittier on the half hour. You come into Whittier on the half hour and out on the hour. So it is a one-way tunnel that we share with the railroad. So it's very interesting, but great fun to make that drive. And then once you come into Whittier, we're a pretty small town. Like I said, we have all of our shops and restaurants are located right on the harbor. We normally get two ships a week. Four of the Princess ships call here. And in 2021, we are meant to get a Holland America ship. So 2 Holland America ships. So we're waiting to see on that and being hopeful, of course.
Family.
That's my family. So this is at the end of Emerald Cove, and this is less than a mile drive along this beautiful road to this viewpoint, and then it accesses a trail. We have amazing trails in Whittier of all levels, from easy to a little bit more advanced. So spectacular trails. This is just you drive to this point, even if you don't want to hike, you can drive here and get this beautiful view. That's pretty much out my window here, but it's snowing, so you can't see it. There's our lovely the harbor. You can see the harbor front. That's where all the shops and stores are. As you look towards the left end of this picture, you'll see the Inn at Whittier, which is a hotel, and right past that looks like a big Quonset hut. That is the cruise ship terminal. Very deep water here, spectacular views. Right here, mountains surround you, 3,000 feet, waterfalls, birds. This is a boardwalk just along the harbor. A lot of boats here, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of people from Anchorage and the Mat-Su Valley, which is just about an hour to an hour and a half away from Whittier, will keep their boats here because it is the closest port and it's calm waters, good fishing, good shrimping, good lots of cool beaches to explore, and good kayaking. Pretty amazing. This is the Portage Pass Trail. So this starts from Whittier and goes up. And from this viewpoint, you get to see Portage Glacier on the other side of the mountains. And looking back the other way, you would look over Whittier and what we call Passage Canal, which is the waterway into Whittier. And Alaska Railroad. So that's the tunnel entrance that you would come out of. You can either drive or you can access the get here via the Alaska Railroad. Most of our cruise passengers come via the Alaska Railroad. Just fireweed is this is probably right at mid-July, right at the peak of the summer. Beautiful fireweed just looking over our harbor, right out my back door.
And these wonderful people here.
Yeah, this is our staff, and with all the COVID things going on, we wanted just to make a little light of the situation, but to let everybody know that we were COVID ready. And most of all, loved these shirts that say, "Be kind." Such a tough time for everybody. Everybody's trying to figure it out. Everybody's trying to work through it. I always feel like between 0 and 100, people are at different levels, right? Are you at 50 or are you at 95? So this is just our staff, and we're just trying to remind people to be kind, but that we're also ready.
Yeah, and these are some of the wonderful people we can help. What we're trying to do, it's about people. Support is about helping people, and that's what we're really trying to do.
Well, we're right on the harbor. We operate 4 boats doing water taxi, custom sightseeing, kayaking, and we have our little cafe here. It serves as a charter office and cafe, kind of this right on the harbor, right next to the east ramp, where people from Anchorage will bring their boats and launch their boats. We are right on the edge of western Prince William Sound. Prince William Sound is the largest concentration of tidewater glaciers is right here. An hour away, you can be sitting at the face of a tidewater glacier. Beautiful, calm, protected waters in Prince William Sound. Wonderful wildlife. So everybody has their favorite place in Alaska, but by far, Prince William Sound is
memories there.
And lady, we have to have a hot chocolate at the Lazy Otter Cafe.
Yeah. I've been doing this. Yes.
Yeah, we have to do it. One day, Kelly, hopefully we can have that hot chocolate in your wonderful cafe. I really look forward to it.
Now, you folks up there in Alaska, you have some wildlife around, like moose and bears, and I mean, well, what happens if a moose decides how I'm going through the tunnel too?
Well, that's actually a really good question. So in the winter, the tunnel doors close. So they close between openings, and in the winter, when it gets below 32 degrees, the tunnel doors close, and the tunnel is open for 15 minutes. So say if you wanted to come into Whittier, you'd come in on the 8:30 tunnel. It's open from 8:30 to 8:45. Well, in the winter, it only opens at 8:40, and then the doors open, one, to keep the temperature of the tunnel at about 45 degrees, and two, to keep wild animals out. So we have had moose in the tunnel, and they've just had to kind of go in from either side and push them out. Yeah.
So a lot of times when you look on cruises to see, okay, where you're taking your cruise from, it'll say Anchorage. And although it says Anchorage, that's where I live, but it's actually Whittier that you're going to. So you might fly into Anchorage and then take the tunnel like she was explaining. And to be honest, it's a very fun experience. This summer, my mom and I said, you know what? We can't travel like we used to. So why not just take the tunnel to Whittier? We did get to see the train too. So if you get to go, it's so cool to experience. And you go through the tunnel, and then it's about, like you said, 2.5 miles to get through there. And when you finally make it to the other side, it is a very small town, but it's really gorgeous because it does have this one huge waterfall when you go to the back behind the buildings where everybody lives. And that's really pretty to look at. They had another little waterfall as well that we enjoyed. And at the time we went there was in August, and we got to see some salmon kind of swimming upriver. Yeah, there's one of the waterfalls we saw. So it was just really fun. And that was one of the small ones too. So yes, so this photo here, we got to see some salmon swimming upriver, and it's just an experience to be in Whittier. And even though it's so small, I feel like there's so much that's there and so many things that you can do, and you can really get a little piece of Alaska from Whittier.
There's no place on earth like Alaska. I honestly thought I was going to spend the rest of my life there. It is such a beautiful place, but I must admit I have not been to Whittier. I lived in Juneau, and I spent the summer in Skagway once. But it's the people. The people are just so friendly and so warm and so giving, that like, and they just want to share all about Alaska. Like some places you go and people are quite fatigued about talking about their destination, but not Alaskans. When I was a crew member, my embarkation day was precious to me. I was so exhausted and I needed to get off the ship. I needed to get away from the ship food, the crew food anyway. And that local connection, and I was on my Wi-Fi talking to all my family. And I know that so many crew members have that opportunity in your cafe in Whittier, right?
Or supportaport.com. Easy to spell, no punctuation, no dashes or anything. Supportaport.com, and your link is there, and you just fill out a few little lines, and it will take you there. Do know that it converts your pounds or euros. I don't suppose there's any marks around anymore, are there? But it converts whatever money that you're in anywhere in the world to dollars, because we are set up in the United States, and we get it. And when we get about $100 for any one port, then we make arrangements. And for instance, in Whittier, we kind of have our direction already. Did we get her back? 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are.
We have Kelly back.
That's all right.
Hi, Kelly.
And when we get that chunk, then we make arrangements with the port, and it's not going to go to some government entity in the port. We will find that place there, so it goes directly to the support, whether it's the food bank, because they always need things that they can't buy or they don't get donated to them. They get government surplus. Here in my hometown, lots of things came in that were handed out through a couple of different churches, but they don't include all of the things that people need that just need to be purchased separately through the food banks or for kids for Christmas. And probably the kids organization there, the school, knows that there's a particular family that has just needs a need more than others. And that's what our idea is to find the need and get it to them directly, without talking about need here. Ace has got a need here. There he goes.
Yeah,
So
it is.
to find
I
that
think you
need, to get it directly from the donor, you guys that are listening, we're just a conduit. We're not in business. We don't have any big buildings. We don't own a jet. Love to own a jet, but we don't own a jet. We don't even have an airplane. We don't even have a rubber band that you wrap up with your finger and send around the room. We all have jobs.
Yeah.
We all had the equipment. We didn't buy any equipment. We just had to do the legal paperwork that the government requires for us to do this. And we're in business. And we're in business to do this because we have hearts. And you can see all the people that are with us today have hearts. And that's what we want to do, is we want to support the people that in some way have been so kind to us that you don't even see when you're on your cruise. Because they're, like you talk about, the longshoremen that were just there to make the boat come in and dock. And it's all so smooth. You don't even hardly feel when the ship leaves or arrives at a dock. You better not feel when the ship arrives at the dock. But, these are jobs that take a lot of people to make our $600 a week cruise go so smoothly. Yeah. And none of these people are working right now. And even when the ships do come back in, like you talk about, things are going to be different. The folks can't get off the ship. The folks that were normally welcoming people who didn't want to do the $400 or $500 train ride across Alaska, they wanted to get off, go to the Lazy Otter Cafe, use the internet, have some of the local cuisine or whatever the unique drink is in Whittier, or just fish salmon off the dock, whatever's available there. They can't do that because they got to stay in the bubble. So all the people providing those services, they're just out of luck. Yes, cruising may have started, but the machine is not running yet. And that's almost harder when the cruising has started, but the machine is not running yet. And we don't know when that's going to happen.
Please donate. Yeah. And as Kelly says, we're showing that we care, and we do care, so please donate, because we can't do anything without you donating. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on today and explaining about your wonderful town. And I really hope that we're able to do something for your wonderful people there.